Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and just finished up killing Traveler 7 during the Torchlight Infinite Hardcore event. If you don't know about this, it's just something that just started, and all you have to go and do is make a character on Hardcore, not Hardcore Solo Self-Found. And if you're in the top 10 people for your class to kill Traveler 7, you'll get this cool little icon and 1000 Jagged Primo Crest, and this goes down depending on like what rank you are. But if you're like in NA, there's plenty of spots to fill in. Same thing with EU. You can even go check this ranking if you're on like the standard, like regular season, and then go click view ranking. And then instead of being on the standard mode, you click hardcore. You can go through and look at all the classes. For the most part in NA, it's pretty wide open. I'm the first Rosa 2 to get it done. And I believe there is a ton of like 5 or 6 the threes that have gotten it done at this point, which is like, you know, all mind control. Mind control is pretty powerful, but actually the first Thea to clear this fight was Thea 1. So, and that was also on mind control. So there's definitely a lot of potential and different stuff out there you can go and play. I really focus pretty heavily on defenses. As you can see, we have just one shield shy of 7777, and just, you know, got my resistances pretty set away, and you know, not perfect but pretty good. And we had like 400 million damage going into the fight. My gear is like not really super duper amazing. I'll put a build code down below, but most of it is just, you know, pretty decent. Okay. And really, like, this event was just kind of fun. I haven't really ever played hardcore in this game before, because you just tend to like insta die. I actually died on a Thea 3, just stood in fire on the fire watcher and just poof, completely evaporated. And you know, after that was just pretty fun and interesting for me. It took about like 11 hours, give or take, with like food breaks and stuff. But you know, just taking our time, getting good gear, making sure we have our resistances sorted out, actually like specking into the passive tree for, you know, life and energy shield all over the place. Just like really make sure that we didn't die, because you know, you get a lot of damage, especially stuff like the new prisms that give you more damage. I actually rolled this +5 dex my very first try. You know, there's just a lot of potential for damage, and you know, getting the defenses up is something that like you really kind of want to focus on in hardcore, so you're not you know, re-rolling. One thing that I can definitely give you though as a tip is, if you are playing hardcore, what you want to do is, as soon as you can port to town, which I think is after like the first boss, or maybe like after the cannon boss, you can port to town, and there is an event thing here that will give you, I'm not sure if I can show it here anymore, but it gives you all of the like path of progression rewards right away, as if you're playing in solo self-found. Apparently hardcore and solo self-found, hardcore solo self-found don't have path progression at all, so you just get all of the rewards right off the bat as soon as you go to town. So you definitely want to go and claim those, which is really nice. Get a lot of passive points, get, you know, magic find and all that stuff, which is good. Also recommend like chucking stuff in your stash as you go, including things like old skills or auras that you could potentially use on a lower level character. Like if you take out a skill and you put it on another character, you can go and actually down level this just by, you know, clicking on the hamburger here and clicking reset level. Now it's level 1, ready to go for your alt. It's just very useful for that. I just threw a ton of gear in here. Pretty much anytime I like replace my gear, I threw in that old piece of gear into the stash. I was also like constantly throwing in all of my embers and flame elementiums just in case I died, because that would just kind of be a pain in the butt to lose all of that. And also like clicking the winding keys that you get from doing the like progression up through the time marks is really nice, because they go to like your account at that point for the season, whereas they're in your pocket and you die, they're just gone, which does suck. You get a ton of these, so if you happen to die a bunch of times, you're going to have a lot of ways to respec. For my void chart, I pretty much just focus primarily on the things that I kind of felt like I needed to solo self find, which was, you know, getting slates and getting my hero memories kind of up and getting like my scraps and stuff. And then once I was just ready to kind of push, I just kind of put a little bit less points into cube, just God of War. And also I kind of found that I didn't drop almost any elixirs of oblivion during this event. So I had to spec into this as well. I was also running pretty low on flame sand multitude of times. I had a lot of embers, surprisingly. But granted, we were running both of the ember drop packs here, the purple guy and the Captain Shadow, along with chalk. So there is kind of that. Most of the time I was actually not running all offense pack spirits either. I really was enjoying having the extra survivability coming from Hell Cavalry. This is a really great purple pack spirit that like you'll probably just pick up as you're pulling on different banners. This guy is very nice. He gives a lot of damage reduction. Just baseline here, you know, these all multiply against each other. You get more DR over here as well. You get a ton of resistances. So an extra 10 res is pretty useful. And then getting more XP. And this guy's just like a goat when it comes to having a good pact spirit. And I definitely would prefer this guy probably over Knight of Pale Blue in most circumstances. Like he's really good mono e mono, maybe like better for Traveler, but everywhere else, Hell Cavalry does kind of take the cake for defenses. And yeah, pretty much just that's it. Like we blasted through. We were using the really powerful swords that this character starts off with basically at the end of the campaign. Oathkeeper, these are things that you get in the very last treasure trove, and these carried us basically until we got to like tier 3 weapons. And then once we like replaced you know, these tier 3 weapons with some tier 2s, and yeah, that's pretty much just it. We just blasted. I was doing life at first, but then eventually once I started to get some good energy shield pieces, we just switched on over to energy shield, which made life easy. I got one of these for like 24 flame elementum, I think, maybe a little bit more. I just really looked for one that had more additional damage. The sealed mana compensation wasn't really all that important. Passive skill level would have been nice as well, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, pretty easy. I think that this is definitely something that is replicatable for sure. And you could even do this on Erica 1, probably do this on Erica 2 as well, Rayhan 2. I don't think Rayhan 1 would be able to kind of do the same thing because he has a whole different skill set type of stuff, but it's definitely like just a very powerful skill with Thunder Spike. And even if you have half of the damage of this, you'll be able to clear no problem. Like I have a whole Traveler 7 video that I highly recommend you check out. We go over all of the resistances you need, all of the different moves and stuff. And so if you're not familiar with the fight, go check that out. Hopefully this video helped you out. I'm going to put up my Traveler kill as its own separate video, but I hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you again soon.